Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today I have one just. I don't know how to describe this replay. Has to be one of the craziest things I've ever seen in the game. And as you can tell by the title of the day's video, it has to do with just how much can one or two players influence a game. And I mean, this really goes to show you the type of game that World of Warships is. And anyway, more on that later. But right now, what we have here, this is BowBonk from PEDS in the Tier 9 Premium Japanese battleship Musashi, and also Kriller from TSIOF, that's our clan, is also in the Musashi, and Val, our CV player, is in an Indomitable. Some of you may notice what they are trying to attempt here. This is the 899 Euro approved removed CV division strat. So the gist of this strat is that you have either a Graf Zeppelin or an Indomitable carriers with very fast planes that can zoom across the other side of the map within a few seconds, spot the enemy CV, and then snipe him with two Musashis. And since you're divvying up with a Tier 8 carrier, you are guaranteed to get an enemy Tier 8 carrier. And the idea is you try to remove him before the 4-minute mark, thereby removing him from the game and giving your team a huge advantage in the match. So that's what they are attempting to do here. Now, the Musashi is basically a Yami, but it doesn't have, well, AA. Well, it has AA, but I think it has an AA rating of like 30 or something. Or it may have changed. I haven't played Musashi much since the CV rework. But basically, it's got like Tier 3 or 4 AA at Tier 9. It's the Yamato class before they received their refit, where basically they strap that mountain of AA in the midsection of the ship. And there you can see there's a Graf Zeppelin. I believe Kriller got a pretty good chunk off on him at the start. Addison just launched his spotter plane to extend his range to 31 kilometers to begin the sniping process. And the Graf Zeppelin, fun fact, has Lucians on board because he just popped his... oh yeah, by the way, I just had to turn my volume there to prevent my tinnitus from getting any worse. He has Lucians on board because he just popped his signal flare and indicated that he just got the, I think it's exemplary reconnaissance or something, where you get a bit of a heal. Not going to have the Graf Zeppelin out there too much because Kriller just took a chunk out of him. Now Addison has him in his sights. And this Graf Zeppelin, I gotta give it to this guy right here. He does do something that's pretty smarter in the situation. He clearly knows what's going on, and he's now going to hug that island like it's his waifu. So the snipe CV strat has been put on hold here for a second. But thankfully, since Val is spotting all of the enemy team over at the C cap, Addison has no shortage of targets to shoot. It takes a shot there at the enemy Musashi. And, they fixed that bug in the replays where it makes this look like you're having a stroke when you try to follow your shells. Unfortunately, it gets an overpin, a non-pin, and a ricochet on the enemy Musashi. Buffalo just cuts in front of Addison here. No big deal. Graf Zeppelin firmly staying behind that high island right there, so he's safe for the moment. North Carolina. Oh, this is a Tier 9 game, by the way, if you didn't notice. There's Tier 7, 8, and 9 ships in this match, mostly Tier 8. I think maybe 4 Tier 9 ships here and there. Enemy Georgia's coming up on the western flank. Now, if you notice, for some reason, G9 is really freaking popular. I don't know. I think I can't even read the names of it. I think you got a Bismarck. I think that's a Colorado and a Pink Shores in G9. It's a mess down there. So that's happening. And then also G5 is popular on the friendly team. You got a Megami, a Chappie, and I think a Buffalo, all crammed into that one little corner. Yeah. Alright, so Addison now has a Colorado, a Donskor, a Surrey, and a Georgia to deal with right here. Surrey is the closest and the biggest threat to Addison, although it is a British heavy cruiser, and Addison is in a Musashi that has 18-inch guns, so it's not like that much of a threat. But definitely the closest target to Addison. Now, he does something very smart here, where he doesn't stop till his guns get on target of the Surrey. He continues to turn. That way he'll be angled against the Georgia shells, because Georgia does have 4 to 57mm guns, and while they can overmatch 32mm of armor, they can certainly put a hurting on the Musashi if Addison gave him the broadside. Lets his 9 18-inch guns go on the Surrey, and goodbye Surrey. Two citadels. Addison's first dev strike of the match. Now this is Georgia right here. This perplex. He's going in reverse with speed boost activated. The whole point of Georgia is that it's a battleship that can go 40 knots. Now, if he was just flooring it, sure, he would have to show Addison his broadside, but he would be in Addison's gun sights for a substantially less amount of time than he is backing up. And plus, the Georgia doesn't have that great of an armor scheme, so backing up, you're not. He's not saving anything doing this. He's just throwing away health at this point. And now look, he's got to turn broadside to Addison. And now let's see what happens here. He was at 20,000 health, and Addison gets 11,000 hit on him. Addison is BowBonk. He's changed his names like 4 or 5 times. But I'm sorry if I keep switching back between calling him Addison and BowBonk. It's whatever. You know the guy I'm talking about. Donskoy, broadside out, 17 kilometers away. That Georgia barely escaping with his life. There's a Z-39 that snuck up on Addison. And, overpins on the Donskoy. Now, another thing is that the Musashi has less secondaries than the Yami, but they're bigger. But at the end of the day, he does have less of them. So, not the best thing to deal with destroyers. The Yami, again, probably not exactly a secondary monster. If you build into them, the secondaries are at very least a pretty good DD repellent. Musashi, not so much. So situation update with the match so far. Enemy team has sunk 2 of the friendly ships. Friendly team has sunk 1 of the enemy ships. That's the Surrey that Addison removed from the match. And looks like the enemy team has managed to break through C because most of their team was there. And the friendly team was too busy trying to hug the island at G9. And now they're having to run away. And there goes a friendly shores. So, it's not looking too good for the friendly team. They do have a B cap. Both teams only have 1 cap. But the enemy team is currently capping C right now. Georgia, again, now choosing to sail out in front of, 4 enemy ships, showing broadside. And he has managed to turn. Again, like right here, look how quick the Georgia can turn. That's very quick compared to a lot of other American battleships. And I don't think he was even at full left rudder just yet. It looked like he was maybe trying to just turn a little bit. And then he said, there's 4 enemy ships over here. I should probably not be here. All right, enemy Colorado, that thing. Man, I feel really sorry for this guy having to go up against it is a Yami class, but a Musashi. And friendly Colorado just got removed by the enemy Alsace. Colorado actually gets away with just a torpedo protection hit from the Musashi. Donskoy also looks like he's hugging that island, trying to keep it in between him and Addison. And not sure how long that's going to work for him. Up there's the Z-39, so he's trying to get a bum rush out on the friendly Iowa there. Eastern side of the map has completely fallen to the enemy team. There goes the Chappie. And Colorado, not sure if Addison knew those torpedoes were there. I mean, seeing the Z-39, obviously that's a huge hint torpedoes are coming. Anytime you see a destroyer pop up and on the other side of an island and you're about to go around the corner of that island, it's a very good idea to start turning because of that right there. That would have sucked if you would have taken that on the nose where there's no torpedo protection on the Musashi. Now, if you'd taken the side, it would have been as bad because the Musashi does have great torpedo protection, just like the Yamato, 55% torpedo damage reduction. Would have sucked because he still would have taken damage, but would have been much less. Alright, now a Cyclone has rolled in. So, this means that nobody can be spotted from further away than 8 kilometers. You have to be within 8 kilometers of a ship to visually spot it now. Now, if you have radar, you will spot it beyond 8 kilometers, or if a carrier or somebody does spot it for you, as you can see on the map, you will still see the outline of the enemy ship on the map, but they will not be spotted if you look at them. So, pretty good thing for Addison and Kriller over here at the west flank, because those ships way out in the east, even though they are being spotted by, for example, this Colorado, those ships out there in the east can't see them, so If they want to try and shoot him, they'll have to try and shoot his outline on the mini-map. Alright, Colorado, again, he's going in reverse. And in this situation, when, I mean, it's a Colorado and a full health Yemi, it would be best for that Colorado to just throw it into drive, gun it, and try to ram Addison. Because at that point, he could at least do 59,000 damage to Addison's Musashi, and that would hurt a lot more than just bouncing shells off of his bow or throwing shells into his superstructure. Now, this is Z39. Destroyer players, guys. Your smoke screen, you gotta be going so slow for it to disperse, and he is about to proximity spot him right here, but he's 2.2 kilometers away. That's outside of proximity spotting. If he would have slowed down for his smoke screen, then Addison would have been able to see him, and he would have been able to get those torpedoes off without being spotted until he proximity spotted him, but would have spotted him a little bit more time. Colorado, again, doesn't go for the ram, goes for the drive-by, which I can admire. He does get a good chunk in him there, but 24,000 damage at the end of the day is less than 59,000 damage. And Kriller's Musashi finishes off the Colorado with its secondaries. And Kriller gets a close quarters expert and a Musashi. That's amusing. Again, Georgia, you go 40 knots. You are a giant torpedo, 74,000 damage. That would remove Addison from the game. You go 40 knots. You could do a drive-by on Addison's Musashi. The Georgia's so fast, the Musashi turret traverse probably couldn't keep up with it. And he just goes in reverse and tries to bow tank a Musashi. Why? You can't do that. It won't work. And there you go. I'm sorry, but I don't normally do that, but these are glaring mistakes that, I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. Musashi can overpin the bows of everything. I don't know why he's trying to bow tank a Musashi. He should have just rammed him. The Colorado, I can kind of understand because, you know, he almost pulled it off. Granted, if he would have held those front two turrets until he was at Addison's broadside, he probably would have wiped Addison out, and that would have been, you know, hats off to that Colorado for pulling that off. The Georgia, I mean, bud, you're a giant torpedo. Please do that next time. And you guys, too. If you're ever in a situation where you know you're going to go down, the best thing you can do for your team is to make sure you do as much damage as you possibly can. That includes ramming. Alright, so situation update. It's kind of gone to crap. Addison's got 3 kills. Kriller's got 1 kill. Kriller's got 1 kill. They are responsible for all the kills on the team so far. Cyclone's still in effect. Graf Zeppelin has moved up. And I believe you can see his secondaries there starting to rip into, I believe they're going after Kriller right now. Addison takes some pot shots at the minimap outlines using the circle. Doesn't connect there on the Alsace. Looks like the enemy Alsace is chasing Kriller down. Val is doing what he can in the Indomitable. You know, Indomitable's not the best carrier, but for when you're trying to carry a sniper, it is the ideal choice. But he is still doing damage, and you'll see how he does at the end of the match. Looks like he's going after the Alsace, and the Graf Zeppelin's going after the Musashi. Oh, Kriller just took out the Alsace. Good job, Kriller. Now, at this point, between Kriller and Addison, they are responsible for killing half of the enemy team. Just those 2 ships. Just those 2 Musashis. They're responsible for killing half of the enemy team. Alright, they are down now by approaching 300 points. There's a Graf Zeppelin. I gotta give it to the Graf Zeppelin player for moving up and getting secondaries in the battle. He seems to be a pretty decent carrier player so far. If you listen very closely, you can hear the Japanese sailors firing their Nambu pistols on deck at the Graf Zeppelin's airplanes. Graf Zeppelin turns in, and, well, not much he could have done in that situation. Friendly Buffalo takes him out. And, Addison did get a plane kill with his Musashi. That's magical. That normally doesn't happen. Okay, so Addison pops his spotter plane, presumably to get the nice top-down angle, so he can again try to take some pot shots using the outlines on the map. He's waiting for Kriller to spot the Musashi so he can get an updated position on him. And there he goes. Musashi did come within viewing range. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the Cyclone passed. Now, behold, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is a crossfire. Addison the Buffalo are on the flanks of all these enemy ships, and Addison's got quite a few broadsides to choose from. So this is ideally what you want to set up in any game, be it competitive or random. Because all these ships are trying to deal with the Musashi and the Iowa, but now they're showing their broadside to Addison and the Buffalo. And goodbye, Baltimore. That is Addison's second dev strike, 2 citadels. Choking on that. That's awesome. That was Albemarle and Ibuki and Musashi in North Carolina. This is the rest of the enemy team, mind you. This is all of them. So if they can manage to take these guys out right here, they will win the match. Ibuki showing a little bit of broadside. Turns there at the last second, just avoiding most of Addison's shells. Addison gets a couple of overpins there on the Ibuki. Musashi in North Carolina are about to have an accident. Up there goes the friendly Buffalo. The enemy Musashi took him out. Okay, Ibuki's going bow on. Albemarle showing broadside, trying to avoid getting blapped by the Iowa. And this is what a crossfire does, because these ships cannot possibly... Oh, there goes the Albemarle. That is Addison's third devastating strike. Because these ships cannot possibly angle against all of the friendly ships at once because they're in different positions. So that's what a crossfire does. Because it's impossible for them to angle against everybody. So somebody has their broadside so they can do maximum damage. And Addison is eyeing this Ibuki, waiting for him to commit to the turn. Waiting. He has the patience of a saint. Now, Iowa looks like he's trying to go for the ram on the Musashi, but he's turning a little bit too late. Unfortunately, Addison just got some overpins on the Ibuki. Yeah, Iowa turned way too late trying to get that ram off on the Musashi, but at least he did go for the ram, unlike some others that we saw earlier in this replay. All right, North Carolina coming up, still showing broadside to Musashi. There's no reason for me to be showing broadside. 21,000 damage strike there. Didn't completely wipe him out. Now North Carolina is starting to turn into Addison. Ibuki going bow in, turning bow into Addison. Unfortunately, in a cruiser, that's how you get citadel by a Musashi. Addison eyeing up the Ibuki with his front 2 turrets. Aiming again for his citadel. There we go. Goodbye, Ibuki. North Carolina, how you doing, bud? You really shouldn't have stopped. You should have continued to turn and turn in. You never want to stop or in a brawling situation, because then this happens to you. Addison's on 7 kills right now. But oh, hi, Musashi from less than a kilometer away. But Addison's turrets are facing the wrong direction, and this Musashi's turrets are facing the wrong direction, so they just sail by each other with their secondary guns going off. Now, on the friendly team, Val is still alive in the Indomitable. And Addison has 1 more heal left. His damage con, he just used it. So, and this is very important what Addison's doing right here. He did not continue to try and turn to get his front 2 turrets on target. If he would have done that, he would have exposed his broadside and his citadel to that Musashi's rear turret. It's a very important thing to do when brawling. You never want to continue to turn after you go by somebody. You want to just sail away and angle. That way, when you're in this situation now, he's in the prime position to bounce any shells that the Musashi is going to throw at him. So that Musashi just got Confederate. So now, Val and Addison have to kill this Musashi in order to win the game. Addison does have Adrenaline Rush. Now he has a 20-second reload on his Musashi, which is crazy. Now he did admit that if he had Yamamoto, God, he would have like a 15-second reload on these guns. But unfortunately, he does not have Yamamoto on this Musashi. Musashi's trying to sell away, obviously, but Val's going to keep him spotted, so he doesn't have much chance there. And Val is coming with rocket planes and dive bombers. No torpedo bombers there because the Indomitable does not have torpedo bombers, but it does have very fast rocket planes and bomber planes. So now Addison is stopping. No need to continue to sell away. He is angled as best as he can against this Musashi, and Musashi's only at 16,000 health. So a couple more good hits and this Musashi is done. And this Musashi isn't showing him much broadside, so he can only get his rear 2 turrets off. Musashi is burning now because Val just started to fire with his Indomitable on him. So in a couple more seconds, he would be dead. But they do not have a couple more seconds. Oh my God. So what you just witnessed there was, as you see on the end screen right here, Val Kriller and Addison were responsible for 10 of the enemy ships sinking. And they still lost the game. Addison got 2100 base XP, and both Val and Kriller got in the, they believe they both got well over 1000 XP. So, this goes to show you that despite having 2 players kill 95% of the enemy team, they still couldn't pull a win out of that. And that just goes to show you that World Warships, this is definitely a team-based game. I mean, I don't know what more you could want out of 2 players to have them, do everything they could possibly do to win a match. If your team just isn't going to cooperate or is just going to hide and not fight, and I mean, there's not much you can say there. I mean, 2 ships killed 95% of the enemy team, and all the other, there was a division, so the 9 other ships, all they had to do was sink 2 more ships, and that would have been a 1 game. That's it. If someone had damaged that Musashi a little bit more, or someone had maybe just cap to cap, that way they would have had a better points build up, because that game was maybe 15 seconds from winning. When Addison's guns reloaded, or the fire would have burned for another 15 seconds, that game would have been won. If 9 players could have bought 15 to 20 more seconds of time, that would have been a 1 game. But they didn't. And hats off to Addison, Kriller, and Val for that match, because oh my, that's got to be one of the worst just failures to carry. And I'm not dissing on them. They had an amazing game, but I mean, how much order do you want them to carry? I mean, jeez. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. We're on our way to 15,000 subscribers. We are well on our way there. I'm getting tongue-tied at this point. But anyway, guys, again, thank you all for watching, and hope to catch you guys in the next one.